You're listening to From Stillness, an audiobook for a mind in need of quiet. There's a quiet lie many young men live with. It doesn't shout. It's whispered in the background of everything we do. It tells us that our identity, our worth, is something we must earn. Through status, through success, through the approval of others. We become obsessed with what we can display. The job title, the number in the bank account, the relationship status, the admiration we hope to attract. But here's the truth: that's not identity. That's performance. This performance mindset is a trap. It's like trying to fill a leaking bucket. No matter how much you achieve, it never feels like enough. Why? Because the validation you're chasing isn't built to satisfy. It's built to keep you running. Real identity doesn't live on your CV. It lives in how you show up when things are hard, in the values you uphold when no one's watching, in the decisions you make when there's nothing to gain. If you only feel like someone when others are watching, then you haven't yet met who you really are. There's irony in this. The moment you stop begging the world to notice you is the moment it finally does. But by then, it no longer matters because you've built a sense of self that doesn't depend on applause. This is the work. Learning to sit with yourself without distraction. To stop escaping into endless doing and start asking, who am I when I'm still? Who am I without the mask? It's uncomfortable. It's humbling. But it's also the beginning of something real. A life lived from the inside out, not the outside in. A foundation you can actually stand on, especially when life gets messy, because it will. So the challenge is this: stop chasing a polished story. Stop living like a brand. Start becoming someone of substance. Someone whose worth isn't measured by what they achieve, but by how they live day in, day out, especially when no one's clapping. Here's something most people won't tell you. Not every friendship is meant to last forever. And clinging to old friendships out of habit or guilt can quietly hold you back more than you realize. We often treat friendships like sentimental objects, old clothes we don't wear anymore, but can't bring ourselves to give away. We tell ourselves they might still fit, but deep down, we know they don't. People grow, or they don't. And pretending otherwise doesn't make the discomfort go away. Look around at the 5 people you spend the most time with. That circle isn't just a reflection of your social life, it's a mirror of your future. The energy, the ambition, the mindset of that group will shape you, whether you notice it or not. So ask yourself honestly, are they lifting you or just keeping you comfortable? Comfort isn't always a gift. Sometimes it's a weight that slows you down. You don't need more friends. You need the right ones. The ones who'll tell you the truth, even when it stings. The ones who challenge you to grow, not just validate your stagnation. Real friendship doesn't mean always agreeing. It means having the courage to say you're off track when no one else will. That kind of honesty is rare, and it's priceless. Equally important is knowing when to let go. Many people in your life aren't true friends. They're convenient companions. Acquaintances who were there during a specific chapter, not the whole book. And that's okay. Releasing them isn't cruelty, it's clarity. We often confuse loyalty with permanence. But true loyalty is about presence, showing up when it matters, growing together when life shifts. If the bond can't survive your growth, it was never strong to begin with. So here's the mindset shift. Friendships are not lifelong obligations. They're living, breathing dynamics that need alignment and mutual growth. Invest in the ones that energize your values, not drain them. Be intentional. Be selective. Your future will thank you. Modern dating is filled with noise. Countless tips, tricks, and tactics promise connection, but too often what they deliver is confusion, burnout, and shallow encounters. The idea that love is a numbers game that you just need to talk to more people, swipe more profiles, send more messages is misleading. Because the truth is, quality connection has never been about quantity, and pretending otherwise only leaves you lonelier. If you want better relationships, start by becoming someone worth connecting with. That doesn't mean wealth, status, or charm. It means depth. It means learning how to be honest, to express your needs, to hold boundaries, and to stop hiding behind a version of yourself you think others will like. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. Real strength. Because it's easy to wear a mask. It's hard to let someone see who you actually are and still choose to stay open. Boundaries are not walls. They're frameworks. They don't push people away, they show others how to treat you. Without them, love turns into sacrifice, and connection becomes control. Being endlessly accommodating might feel noble, but over time, it erodes self-worth. You're not meant to be a doormat with a pulse. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to walk away from someone who doesn't respect your line. And honesty, true honesty, isn't about being harsh. It's about being clear, grounded, and kind. Those who call themselves brutally honest are often more interested in brutality than honesty. Real truth doesn't need to tear people down to be effective. It simply needs to be said with courage and care. Also, learn to apologize properly, not performatively, not defensively. "I'm sorry you feel that way" is not an apology. It's an escape route. Real repair begins with ownership. No excuses, no blame shifting, just truth, humility, and the willingness to grow. Finally, pay attention to what people show you, not just what they say. We spend far too long making excuses for poor behavior, trying to interpret mixed signals, rewriting red flags as misunderstandings. But the signs were there. They always are. You don't need to fight for love that's real. You just need to recognize it. And sometimes, you need to walk away from what isn't. Here's a truth they rarely teach you. Your company isn't your family, and your job doesn't owe you loyalty. Harsh? Maybe. But understanding this early on will save you years of confusion. In the world of work, loyalty is often one-sided, and clinging to outdated ideals of mutual devotion can keep you stuck in places that no longer serve your growth. Degrees are not guarantees. At best, they open the first door. But getting in is not the same as thriving once you're there. What matters more, far more, is your skill set. Not just technical ability, but communication, adaptability, self-management. Can you solve problems? Can you lead when no one's watching? Can you keep learning even when no one's forcing you to? Too many people stay in dead-end roles because they're afraid of uncertainty. Others jump ship too quickly, chasing novelty over mastery. The sweet spot lies in knowing when you've outgrown something and having the courage to move before comfort turns to stagnation. Don't just network. Build relationships. The people who shape your career aren't the ones you meet at a conference and never speak to again. They're the mentors, peers, and advocates you've built trust with over time. Your next opportunity might come from someone who knows your character, not just your CV. And when the time comes to negotiate your salary, do it properly. That first number isn't just a paycheck, it's a foundation. It influences future raises, opportunities, and how your value is perceived. Learn how to have those conversations with clarity, confidence, and data. Thousands of pounds can be lost in a single awkward silence. When seeking guidance, be mindful of who you're listening to. Well-meaning friends and family might offer advice based on love but not experience. Much of what you'll hear is autobiographical. What worked for them, not what will work for you. Seek out those who've walked the path you're aiming to travel, not just those who wish they had. And remember, the world of work is not a fairy tale. It rewards results, resilience, and relevance. Romanticizing the old rules won't get you far. Learn how the game is played, then decide how to play it on your terms. If there's one silent factor shaping your future freedom, it's how well you understand money. Not just how to make it, but how to manage, protect, and multiply it. Financial literacy isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And the earlier you take it seriously, the more peace you'll afford yourself later. Start with this truth. Earning more won't fix poor money habits. If you can't manage 1,000 pounds, you won't magically become responsible with 10,000 pounds. Income without discipline is just a faster route to stress. That's why understanding budgeting, saving, and delayed gratification isn't optional, it's foundational. Compound interest is one of life's few magic tricks. Small, consistent investments made early can quietly snowball into real wealth. You might not see it at first. It's invisible in the short term. But over the years, it becomes a force that works for you, even while you sleep. The flip side? Debt works the same way but against you, especially when misunderstood. Credit cards, for example, are tools. Used wisely, they can build your credit and open doors. Used recklessly, they can bury you in interest repayments and anxiety. Before spending borrowed money, understand what it's costing you. That small plastic card is neither friend nor enemy. It simply mirrors your financial behavior. And then there's the cost of lifestyle inflation, the quiet pressure to upgrade everything the moment your income grows. A new job, a better salary, and suddenly you're buying more expensive clothes, cars, gadgets. But here's the trick. True wealth isn't about how much you spend, it's about how little you need to feel whole. That's freedom. Most people chase external symbols of success to impress others who aren't even watching. You don't have to. Instead of buying liabilities, invest in assets, things that grow in value or create opportunities. Know what enough looks like for you. If you don't, the finish line will keep moving forever. And while budgeting and tax planning may not be exciting, neither is being broke at 40. Learn these things now, while the stakes are still low. Your future self, older, wiser, perhaps with a family or more responsibilities, will look back and thank you. Financial literacy isn't about greed. It's about autonomy. It's about building a life where money works for you, not the other way around. In your 20s, your body feels like a machine built to run forever. Sleep can wait, meals are skipped or replaced by energy drinks, and stress is numbed by distraction. But just because you can push through now doesn't mean you should. Sooner or later, the body sends its invoice and the cost can be steep. Your body isn't a rental car you can return after use. It's the only home you'll ever truly live in. And maintenance isn't just about looking good, it's about sustaining the engine that carries your mind, your energy, and your capacity to show up for life. Let's start with the basics. Sleep. In a world that glorifies hustle culture and late nights, rest is seen as weakness. But every major study tells us the opposite. Sleep isn't laziness, it's strategy. A full night's rest sharpens your memory, regulates your emotions, improves decision-making, and strengthens your immune system. Missing it doesn't make you tougher. It makes you slower, more reactive, and emotionally brittle. Your diet is next. The phrase, "you are what you eat," might sound cliché, but it's true in the most literal sense. Your brain, your mood, your focus, all of it is built from what you fuel yourself with. Highly processed food and excess sugar create spikes and crashes, not just in blood sugar, but in mental clarity too. The food you eat is either healing you or slowly harming you. And then there's movement. You don't have to be an athlete, but you do need a relationship with your body that includes strength, mobility, and consistency. Lifting weights or running isn't just about physical results, it's mental training. Discipline in the gym teaches discipline in life. That steady increase, week by week, rewires your mindset from passive to resilient. There's also the uncomfortable truth that your decisions today can echo for decades. Whether it's skipping regular checkups, avoiding dental care, or ignoring that nagging pain, small neglect becomes big problems. Routine maintenance is boring, yes. But so is being sidelined by something that could have been prevented. And one final point no one says loudly enough. Take sexual health seriously. Use protection. That one reckless moment doesn't just risk your future, it can reshape it in ways you can't undo. You only get one body. Treat it with the respect it deserves, not out of fear, but out of gratitude. You'll be living in it a long time. Mental health isn't a luxury. It's not something you think about only when it breaks. It's the foundation of how you live, how you love, how you make decisions, and how you get back up when life knocks you down. Yet too many young men still see vulnerability as weakness and silence as strength. The truth is, seeking help is a sign of wisdom, not defeat. You don't wait for your house to burn down before calling the fire brigade. Likewise, you don't need to reach a breaking point to start building psychological resilience. Discipline is far more powerful than motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It's like catching wind in your hands. One moment it lifts you, the next, it's gone. Discipline, on the other hand, is built. Slowly, quietly, repetitively. It's the practice of doing what matters, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. And in a world obsessed with shortcuts and dopamine fixes, the ability to delay gratification has become a modern-day superpower. The more comfortable you become with discomfort, the more capable you become in life. Emotional maturity isn't about always feeling good. It's about being able to hold space for emotions without being ruled by them. Guard your attention like it's sacred, because it is. What you consistently focus on will shape your reality. Every scroll, every video, every headline is training your brain. Either you direct your attention with intention, or the algorithms will do it for you. Mental fortitude also means being able to sit still with your thoughts. Not every problem needs immediate action. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is nothing. Just breathe, notice, and allow the noise to pass. Let your thoughts come and go without chasing them or trying to silence them. And when decisions need to be made, stop chasing the perfect answer. Most choices are reversible. Paralysis by analysis is just another way of staying safe. Make a call. Adjust. Keep moving. That's how confidence is built, not from knowing in advance, but from learning by doing. Real strength doesn't roar. It doesn't need to. It's quiet, steady, and present. The kind of strength that isn't about pretending to be unbreakable, but knowing you can rebuild again and again. In a world overflowing with noise and surface-level impressions, practical skills are your quiet advantage. They don't just make you more competent, they make you impossible to ignore. Let's start with communication. The ability to speak clearly, especially in public, is a superpower. Not because it makes you look smart, but because it allows you to lead, to inspire, and to cut through confusion. While most people are hiding in the back of the room, the one who can articulate ideas with confidence is the one people remember and follow. Closely tied to this is writing. Clear writing is clear thinking. And in a world that rewards speed and reaction, the man who can pause, structure his thoughts, and deliver clarity will always have an edge. Whether it's an email, a proposal, or a personal message, your words leave a trace. Make that trace worth following. Then there's the underrated skill of asking great questions. Not to fill space, not to impress, but to genuinely understand. Good questions open doors. They reveal depth, build trust, and show that you're not just waiting to speak, you're actually paying attention. And speaking of attention, there's active listening. Rare, powerful, transformative. Most people aren't really listening, they're rehearsing their reply. The person who listens deeply, who makes others feel heard without interruption or agenda, becomes magnetic. Because everyone wants to be understood. Few people offer that gift. Negotiation is another essential skill, not just for business deals, but for life. From buying a car to discussing your salary, knowing how to hold your ground respectfully can save you thousands and earn you respect. It's not about winning at someone else's expense. It's about creating agreements that honor your value. Finally, remember that tone and nuance often get lost in digital communication. A text or email might feel efficient, but some conversations demand presence. When it matters, when there's emotion involved, pick up the phone. Meet in person. Be human. Text is where nuance goes to die. These skills won't make headlines, but they'll make you indispensable. They don't shout for attention, they earn it. Too many people spend their lives earning a living, but forget to build a life. A job title, a salary, a to-do list. These things may fill your days, but they don't necessarily fulfill your soul. The truth is, you're not here just to survive. You're here to shape something meaningful. Start with your habits. What you do every day, not once in a while. Not when you feel inspired, becomes your life's trajectory. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Read regularly, move your body, sleep with intention. Spend time with people who raise your standards. These aren't glamorous acts, but they form the bedrock of a good life. Next, widen your perspective. If you never leave your mental postcode, your thinking stays small. Travel when you can, not to escape life, but to see it with new eyes. See how others live, how differently people think, how small your problems look against a vast, complex world. Perspective is the cure for entitlement, the antidote to stagnation. Minimalism isn't just about owning fewer things, it's about needing less to feel whole. While others chase more gadgets, more upgrades, more distractions, you can choose to step off the hamster wheel. The fewer things you need to feel content, the more power you reclaim. You stop chasing and start choosing. And then there's the digital diet. Social media teaches you to compare, not to grow. Scrolling is reactive. Reading is active. Scrolling floods your mind. Reading sharpens it. Swap the dopamine hit of swipes and likes for the steady nourishment of books, reflection, and real conversations. Ultimately, the life you build is not the one people see, it's the one you wake up into each day. It's made from intention, not impulse. Presence, not performance. Progress, not perfection. You weren't born to consume endlessly. You were born to create, connect, contribute, and grow. In a world obsessed with image, it's easy to forget that character still decides your future. Not the curated version of you online, but the quiet one, the version that shows up when no one is watching and there's nothing to gain. Integrity isn't glamorous. You won't get applause for doing the right thing when it's hard. But that's exactly when it matters most. When you say you'll do something, do it. When you make a mistake, own it. When you're tempted to take the shortcut, don't. Your word should be worth something. Because in the end, trust is the currency of every meaningful relationship, both personal and professional. Kindness is not weakness. In fact, it's one of the greatest forms of strength. Anyone can be loud, aggressive, or indifferent. But kindness requires restraint, emotional intelligence, and a level of self-respect that doesn't rely on dominance. The strongest people aren't the ones shouting over others. They're the ones who know when to speak gently, when to forgive, and when to walk away without drama. Resilience is not about never falling. It's about what you do after you fall. And the truth is, the things you're trying hardest to avoid, rejection, failure, discomfort, are often the very things that shape your strength. It's easy to be calm when life is easy. True character is forged in the days when nothing goes your way and you choose not to collapse. Gratitude is the antidote to entitlement. The world owes you nothing. The sooner you let go of that belief, the freer you become. Gratitude grounds you. It reminds you that even on your hardest days, there's still something worth honoring. A roof, a friend, a quiet breath. You start to see that life is not something you're waiting to happen, it's something you're already living. And when you face a choice to blame or take responsibility, to react or reflect, to tear down or build up, choose the one that builds your character, even if no one else will ever know. The future is uncertain, but the one thing you can always bring with you is who you are. Here's what no one tells you when you're young. You don't need to have it all figured out. In fact, you won't. And that's not a failure, it's life. The path ahead isn't something you'll map out perfectly. It's something you'll navigate step by messy step, through progress, not perfection. Perfection is a trap. It paralyzes you with fear of getting it wrong. But progress? Progress is movement. It's the art of learning as you go, adjusting, stumbling forward anyway. What matters isn't whether you get it right every time. What matters is whether you get it right more often than you get it wrong, and whether you're willing to keep improving that ratio. Your past does not define your future unless you insist on living there. You can choose to carry the weight of every mistake, every missed chance, or you can choose to carry only the lesson. The only person who decides what happens next is you. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. That's enough to begin. Learn to balance ambition with contentment. Yes, aim high. Push your limits. But also learn when enough is enough. The pursuit of more without purpose will only exhaust you. True legacy isn't built in grand declarations. It's built in tiny decisions, repeated daily, especially when no one is watching. In almost everything that matters, health, relationships, habits, mindset, consistency trumps intensity. The small, unglamorous disciplines, waking early, being kind, finishing what you start, will quietly shape you into someone strong, steady, and trusted. It's not always exciting, but it's real. And maybe most importantly, the quality of your life is shaped by the quality of your questions. Stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Stop asking what's wrong and start asking what's possible. The world doesn't need more comfortable men. It needs men who are willing to do the uncomfortable work of becoming who they're capable of being. Not perfectly, but steadily. Day by day. Quietly. Honestly. That journey begins now. Not when you feel ready. Not when everything is in place. But right here, with what you already have. The question isn't whether these truths work. The question is whether you will. At the end of the day, none of this is about being perfect. It's about being honest with yourself, with the life you want to build, and with the quiet voice inside you that already knows what truly matters. You don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just take the next small step with clarity, with courage, and with care. Thanks for listening. And if this spoke to you, even in a small way, I'm grateful you stayed. Stay steady. Stay kind. And above all, stay true to yourself.